Nancy, you changed your hair.
So I'm her secretary. So-
You know, you can go up in the upper right-hand corner and change the name if you want to do that.
Actually, that would work too.
Hey, Jock,
How are you doing, Barry?
is this Boys Day?
Hey, Jock.
Hello. I was looking to see your name, then all I could see was Nancy. I was like, okay.
There we are. I'm the new host.
Thank you, Richard. Do you go by Richard, or do you go by an abbreviation or a nickname?
No, just Richard. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you want to make me a co-host so you don't have to worry about letting people in, you can do that. Nancy
Yes.
does that too.
Okay. Where do I do that?
I think in the participants.
So is Nancy not going to be here today?
Sorry.
Is Nancy not going to be here today?
No. She's I'm not sure. She's she's away from home. She'll be on her phone, but
She wasn't able to host it. That's all right.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
well, no, I'll need to because I'm presenting as well. So
Okay, good.
I have to. Figure it out for me.
Jock, you know how to make a co-host? I remember you go into he can go into participants and then designate me as a co-host.
Let's see. I won't, because
Yeah, you and I can.
I know I not only can't we can't see it, because we can't do it, we don't have the option, so we can't even see anything to be able to tell them where to look.
Yeah, I'd have to go out and go into my Zoom to look at it again.
Yeah.
Hello, Miss Helen.
Hello, Barry and everyone else. How are you guys?
Good.
Hi,
Good.
Great.
How are you?
How are you doing?
Good. Nancy's still away at her reunion?
Yes. Yes, she's.
Awesome. And where are you right now, Richard? You're in the south somewhere, right?
Yes, I'm in Manzanilla, Mexico right now. We're moving. We were in Progreso for about a month and then here, and then I'm not sure where we're going after here.
But you're
Where-
staying down there?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I had something I was going to mail you in Vancouver. Well, not Vancouver, but in BC. So
Yeah.
you'll have to let me know where you are so I can mail it down there.
When we get something permanent,
Yeah.
we're going where the wind blows. So
Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it can sit here. No problem.
yeah. All right. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone.
Hello, Claudio.
Hey,
Claudia.
Claudio, do you know, can you tell Richard how to make you a co-host so that when he's presenting, you can let people in, or me?
I wish I knew. I know you've got to go under, I believe you go under security. There should be a tab that says make co-host. Whenever I've tried on my end, I don't know if my setup is different, but it says to make somebody a host. So you have to actually pass on. But I know I have seen in the past that you can just add somebody as a co-host.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to go out and then look at my Zoom and then come back in.
Yeah, because Nancy does it all the time.
Yeah, I've noticed that too, though, Claudio, and I don't know, it must be something in the settings before you actually start the live Zoom. Because if I go to make someone co-host, it ends up just making them the host and I get like kicked out of the admin responsibilities, right? Which, I mean, it doesn't matter because you just switch it back if that's the case, but I don't know how to co-host either.
It used to be simple though. I think before there was just a simple button. Now I think it's somehow.
They've complicated it.
Yeah. So Richard, you're the host right now?
Yes, Nancy's not here, so she will be probably maybe on her phone.
Okay. So what happens if you go like to the three little dots where it says more at the bottom?
Yeah, so
Is there anything
Live-
in there about hosting?
No, breakout rooms, live Facebook, live workplace, live on YouTube, live on Twitch.
Well, at least you're alive.
Yes, well, I mean, Claudia mentioned passing on. I'm thinking not yet, like not ready. Advanced sharing option. No,
Yeah,
How
I
about
can't
under
check on.
share screen? Is there anything under share screen that has to do with hosting?
multiple participants can share simultaneously. Advanced. I just looked at that and it's
It's probably
hang on one sec.
it's probably something really, really easy. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I wonder if it's even like in the participants list that you just like click on somebody and
It's
make them a
possible.
co-host.
I never thought of that.
I didn't either till just
But it-
now because I'm,
And this year's really tokenist money, but I don't know if that other guy's. Little Dennis water, should I give him the money?
Sorry,
oh, good.
another conversation going on here.
Yeah, I agree with Claudio. I think it's under security, but with just one person in there, it doesn't bring up add a host.
Well, Helen made a good point because usually if I'm a co-host, I can go under participants and it'll say co-host beside my name. So
Exactly.
maybe you can just do it from participants. Maybe there's something in there that you can make somebody a co-host.
That as well.
In American money.
And what part of the world are you in today, Juanita?
Germany.
That's what I thought.
Cool. Cool.
I'm in Germany, loving it. Oh my gosh.
Heinz Wein.
Yeah, but of course, technical difficulties all the time. I fell on the cobblestone street. My brand new phone
Uh-oh.
started turning black. And my cousin Jens, this is Jens,
Hi, cousin.
he ordered me a new phone, so he's putting all my, because it's got a German number and an American number. He's switching it all over to the new phone. Whew, thank God I got tech support in Germany.
Yep. That's what I do with Linda. She's got a problem with her iPhone. I give it about 2 minutes and then say, call the grandbabies. Hey,
Yep.
you want to close the blinds behind you if you can, because it's blocking you out with the sun.
Okay, will do.
Yeah, the kids picked this up like breathing. You know, we
Yeah.
half an hour, you hand it to them, they look at you like click, 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 and hand it back. It's like
Exactly.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, okay.
Well, my granddaughter handed me her iPad the other day, and she said, basically, to put the password in. She was going to buy a game. She's 4 years old. And she's giving me her iPad to buy a game. I said, I don't think so.
She's looking for your credit card.
Cyber kids.
Yeah.
No, she's asking what wallet it's in as far as you're on your phone looking for Shake Pay.
So how are y'all doing? I've missed you guys.
We're doing great. We missed you
Good.
too.
Oh,
I'm kind of the same. I don't think I've been on a call for like almost a month, Juanita. I haven't seen anyone.
Well, I tell you, all I know is I kept thinking about you guys. So India for a week, Nepal for a week. And let me tell you, when I share some of these pictures, I kept saying, these people do not miss an opportunity. I think all of India is run by entrepreneurs. All you need is a little spot right in between two buildings. Just give them 2 feet, or even a foot. They'll throw a pretty little blanket out there. They set up shop. It's for sale.
Yeah.
The islands, when you're driving and there's those islands sometimes in the middle, throw that blanket out. They're selling stuff for your car while you sitting there at the light. I just entrepreneurship to the utmost. I don't care how poor you are, they don't know they're poor. They just deal with their situation, keep going. But everybody has a cell phone, even if it's a flip phone. Just
Well,
amazing.
I know a lot of people in the businesses that I'm with, they have massive teams in India. That's definitely one of the targets. I mean, there's, a billion people out there. So,
And that's what the guy said. This is what it looks like when you have billions of people crowded into an area.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Quick,
scooters galore. Get into the scooter business. Oh my gosh. There's a scooter everywhere. 4 or 5 on a scooter from the whole family can go on a scooter.
I'm in Mexico, Anita. I see that too. People off the side, one on each arm, balanced out like that. So, but I got a quick one for you too. Everybody's saying here, everybody's an entrepreneur. And the one guy leaned into one of the stands, said, "Don't mind me, I'm just looking." And the guy said looked at him and said, "Don't mind me, I'm just selling." That's what they do, right? They're here to
And everybody,
so,
looking
yeah.
is free. Looking
Yeah.
is free.
yeah.
Just
Okay.
amazing, amazing. My favorite one, my dad's a barber, so my favorite one was there's a fence around a soccer stadium. Okay, fence. He takes a tarp, 2 clothespins, pins the tarp to the fence. The other end of the tarp has little holes. He puts 2 sticks out there. So now he's got a cover, a chair under the tarp. He's cutting hair. It was the barber shop. And I thought it was just for the day. 2-3 days later, he's still under there. That's his shop. Don't mess with his shop.
So yeah, Barry, I can't see that for some reason, not at all. So I'm just going to start the recording. We'll start the meeting, do our little intros. Probably maybe add a little bit of who's been our ideal client. If that's okay, and maybe a little bit of a success with that.
Right.
If that, just for add on, because there's only a few of us. Then I'm going to do my presentation on communication.
I was
Oh,
just going to ask Claudio if he had an update on the investment since COTPS went upside down. I haven't heard anything. I haven't paid attention for several weeks since that happened.
Well, unfortunately, we haven't heard anything different yet. I know they had originally said that the money is secure and that it's going to take 3 to 5 weeks to get back up and running. We don't know how truthful that is. We have no idea right now. So I don't know of anybody that's got any kind of other source that they can get this information from. I'm just going by what's been posted in some of our chat groups.
I checked this morning and you still can't get on, still blacked out.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that Nancy's working on other stuff in its place, because I don't expect COTPS to ever come back. I think it was a scam, but.
Well, it's starting to look more and more like that, unfortunately. I know I was fortunate to at least get my original investment back, but I left a lot of money on the table, before I was able to pull it out.
Wow.
But yeah, no, she still has, she's with the other 3 that I'm with, CashFX, Novatech, and Carbon.
Mhm.
So they're all doing well. Carbon is just getting their feet wet, but that's going to be massive when it goes full force. And CashFX is just about to go into phase 2 in the next couple of months, and that's going to mean huge earnings compared to what we're doing now. So yeah, it's a good one to get into while you're out there, if that's what you're considering.
I'm ready because I got the little wallet going.
Perfect.
Think.
Let me know when
Yep.
you have some time, and
Right after the meeting, I'm ready.
okay, perfect.
Okay. So I'm going to push record. I'll do my introduction without saying you all too much. And I thought of that too. We should each put you all in a sentence while we're doing our intros. I'll leave it up to you.
We'll all start saying hola.
Exactly. Okay. Oh, it's been recording all along. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'll let her do that. So I forgot. Here we are. So welcome to Lunch and Learn Friday. I'm hosting for Nancy Gaskins. I'm Richard Warden. Living in Mexico, obviously living a lifestyle that's I wrote down many years ago. So we're all into this lifestyle sort of vision of where we want to be, where we can be. Today, we're going to do our infomercials of just who we are, maybe perhaps an ideal of maybe some of our connection with our clients or how we have served them. And so you can definitely say each person may have a minute or 2 minutes, whatever they need to take to express themselves. And obviously a few of us have some quite adventurous as well when either doing your traveling. So how about I start with Helen?
Sure, good timing because I may have to pop off at 1 o'clock to answer somebody coming to my door. So we'll get this in first. 1 o'clock EST, by the way. So yeah, who am I? So I am Helen Snell, and I work with business owners in the realm of storytelling and communication. So I'm really interested in hearing Richard's presentation about communication today, because I think that's what it's all about. So what I focus on is how to tell a good story, how to understand your value of your own story in your business, and then how to communicate that effectively to a variety of people in your audience so that you're attracting that ideal client. I think you had mentioned talking about kind of a success story or an ideal client or something as well. And I'm going to just diverge from that a little bit. And I'm going to talk about a collaboration that I'm doing with someone else who deals in the area of communication and values. Pardon me. So just because people understand, they learn in a very different way. I think this is really going to be a neat workshop that the two of us are putting together. She works with something called Points of View, and it's an experiential process where you reflect on your values and different things, kind of take a different perspective to look at those. And so we're going to put that together in a workshop towards the end of this month, if anybody's curious about attending that. And happy to see you guys all today. I've been away for, I think, a month, so good to be back.
Jock, would you like to go next, please?
Sure. I do online marketing for businesses. Basically, doing an evaluation of their website and their online presence and how they stack up against their competitors, and then figure out what's going to be the best thing for them to be able to get more business coming in. Looking at the Google My Business, possibly optimizing that, doing search engine optimization on the website, reputation management for more and better reviews, and then if necessary, ad campaigns. And there are different ways to do that. I'm working with a number of people in the real estate industry, several different realtors, but then I work with a number of different companies as well. Everything from appliance stores to metal fabricators making custom railings and stairs for homes. And let's see, what else? I've dealt with an accountant. I'm talking to title companies. And have a roofer as a client. So a broad range of things, easiest with higher ticket items to deal with and be able to justify the expense for the marketing. So that's it.
Thank you. Barry, would you like to go next?
Sure. And this is very exciting for me. Why? 50% of the people on the meeting today are customers of Melaleuca. And I say that, yay. Did you get your stuff over in Germany? You're muted.
My husband received it. He went back early, so he got it in Florida.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I wanted to see how the APO went. All right, so 50% of the people on the meeting today are customers of Melaleuca, and I say it that way rather than customers of mine because I don't sell anything. We're the original green and essential oils company. We manufacture over 450 products in North America. There's only one product that's not produced here, and that's our mascara, which comes from Italy. But everything else is local, and we also now provide free shipping made available And for new customers, you get $100 worth of free products in your first 5 months. So for the other three, Richard, Helen, and Jock, love to do a virtual tour for you and introduce you to Mellow Luca. I am the Mellow Man. So thanks for being here with us. And all the years I've been doing it, I could tell stories forever.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Juanita, tell us your travels.
So Juanita Harvin from Your Way Tours. And boy, I've been using that hashtag y'all been helping me with, global tours and trips. Now we developed Your Way Tours was there, Your Way Tours on the road. I've tested out living in an RV for a week, doing the wine tours on the Mosel and Rhine River. I survived India and Nepal with a group. And being a full service, travel agency, I love doing what I do, but, I test a lot of things. So I like to test out. I hate to send you somewhere and I've not been there or I've not seen it, or, there's certain places I'm not going to be going to. But if I can, give you some insights, or I know somebody that's been there, I like to do some of the testing myself. So that's what I was doing pretty much now. But, during this trip, I found another mission. Maybe not another mission. I always help a Sister Margaret here in Germany, the homeless kitchen, and we do volunteers here. But she's been our contact, and now I have taken, we have $10,000 that I got from Rotary for the Ukrainian efforts. So right now it looks like I'm going to be doing, my company is, she told me we're kind of branding that my company's not just a travel company, but we're humanitarian friendly. So when we were in India and in Nepal, we went to a textile company, which was formulated called Saba, where they take women and or trafficked women or women from little towns, bring them in, teach them how to do textiles. And these folks are doing, they've got a business going from all these folks that volunteer. And it goes from the lamb to the wool, to the textile, to the store. And they're looking for more support. And I says, I think that's going to be a good thing for Your Way Tours, so that we're not just going on trips, but, if we find something out there where we can help, we're going to help. So my friend Hyla Ernst here in Germany, she's a photographer. And so she's going to be doing some photography. So Sunday, I'm heading to Ukraine. We're going to drive over. We're buying medical stuff and food and things. And we're checking on some nuns to see they're okay, because they've been taking care of lots of folks. So you guys hear the news about the Ukraine stuff. It affects everybody everywhere, but these folks are just fleeing, but they're afraid to leave Ukraine. So they're all hanging over to the Western borders. So that's where we're bringing a lot of the things to. So yeah, it's been fun with some of the travels. Oh, hey, I got my German food in. I got my pretzel, schnitzel, Bäckchen. I haven't had a Haxen yet, but let me tell you, I'm going on a diet now. My physical therapist and put me on a diet. So I'm staying well, but I'm still enjoying being here. So I'll be here till the 5th of July, and then I head back to USA.
Thank you.
Got a question for you. Many years ago, I met a Polish woman in Finland, and then went to visit her in Poland when it was still a communist country. And people told me that they were having trouble getting sugar. And so I brought a 5-pound bag of sugar with me, and I got there and they go, "Oh, we can get sugar, no problem." I felt like an idiot. So when you mention medical supplies and food, medical supplies I can see, but you might want to check on the food as to what they really need, if they need it, or you might be wasting money.
Oh no, they give us a list of what they need.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, oh, I know. And if nothing else, you know what I can bring at any time that nobody refuses? Peanut butter. American peanut butter is nothing like any other.
Huh. So people prefer it?
Oh, yes. It's creamy. You can get the creamy or the crunchy. So yeah, I had my suitcase filled. Peanut Reese's, they don't get that either. Butterfingers, yeah. But right now, the big medical thing is adult diapers.
Interesting.
Yeah, for a lot of the folks that, can't go too far and they're in these homes.
Interesting.
Thank you. Jerry.
Thank you, Jock. Thank you, guys.
Hi, so I'm Jerry Lotz, and everything that we do is about saving companies and people money in a number of areas in which they spend money. For people and companies that have residential rental, multifamily, and commercial properties, we work with the client's existing tax professional, but we provide this engineering-based study that results in calculations that we give to the CPA to apply to the return, and the client has more deductions early on upfront to offset their income. We accelerate that depreciation in those properties for the client. So when they have more deductions to offset the income, they pay less in taxes. For the same clients and even for consumers, we would look at bills that they pay every day, whether it's a phone bill, or maybe it's an internet service or a security system contract, and negotiate a better price for that service for that client as well. There are some initiatives for business owners that have 5 or more W-2 employees that can save them on taxes and give employees a little bit of a better perk at the same time. And other initiatives out there as well that are, too numerous to mention, that can save business owners, whether it's real money or tax dollars. So it's all important. One of the stories that I really like to talk about is a gentleman that had 10 of these Dunkin' Donut franchise locations. So a couple of years ago, he was looking at a income of $1 million for that year and wondering how he's going to mitigate the tax exposure on $1 million worth of income. That same year, he builds another property. So he spends $1.2 million building another property. Called us in to do our engineering-based study, and we actually found $620,000 of that $1.2 million that he spent that he could write off in that first year. So now he's not paying taxes on $1 million. He's still paying taxes on $380,000, but basically we saved him about $250,000 stroke of a check to the IRS that year. So I get excited, really excited when that kind of stuff happens. Whether a property is newly bought, newly built, even if the client's owned it for a number of years, we're happy to provide a free estimate of tax savings. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Claudio.
Thank you, Richard. Hello, everyone. Again, Claudio from Let's Create Wealth. I believe the title says it all. I'm all about helping people create new streams of passive income. Currently with 3 different platforms, have all been performing very, very well. I've been with some longer than others, obviously, and they all trade in either the Forex market or the crypto market or both. And the thing I love about them is you do have the option, if you'd like, if you want to learn how to trade and actually do some trading yourself with their guidance. So they'll actually advise you on the trades, or you can create it completely hands-off, which is what I prefer. I don't know anything about trading. I really don't have the passion at my age to start learning all about it. I know there's a lot of risk involved, and I just prefer to let others do the work. So even if I make a little bit less than they do, hey, I'm already earning a 6-figure income. Doesn't bother me at all. So yeah, that's basically what I do. I just help you create a stream of passive income. You can join 1, you can join 2, all 3, whatever you like. And like I said, they've all been performing very well up till now, and some are about to get a lot better. So I'm really excited about it.
Thank you, Claudio. And just confirmation, I'm in those same platforms, group and personally. So I'm obviously a fan of what you present, and appreciate the opportunity. So I'm Richard Moore, and I'm a transformation coach. I help people loss, separation, divorce, and I really help them look at their decision process at the time and understand how much shame and blame we attach to that. when we really look at, we made the best choices possible with the information we knew, especially in relationships. But what comes into that is our story, what we grew up with, how we perceived life, and then we bring that into a partnership and then try and make the best of it from there. And sometimes they evolve in a good way and sometimes they don't. We create these experiences. So the emotions we attach to that as well. I help them when they have an understanding of those emotions and choices and understand where they come from, we get to create new opportunities for themselves and new choices. There's a 50% divorce rate first time, 60% second, and 73% third time. So understanding people often repeat the same pattern over and over and consciously and not understanding why it happens. When you have that understanding, and it's very simple to grasp that, you can create something new and different for yourself. And pieces of work I'm bringing into, and one I'll present in a few minutes, called the communication, and the other one's the love language. We take this for granted. We may speak the same language, but we have different meanings for words in the same context. Expressed to that is when you understand two simple aspects of that, communication and our love language is how we give and receive attention to each other, not just about relationships and partnership. It's about our children, our connection with our loved ones around us. It's what their needs are. And I just had someone take it for the first time and I didn't realize what their love language was. And this is a very conscious individual, very beautiful soul. I had no idea that their first love language was touch, and the second one were words of affirmation. So we don't realize we go into other aspects. But anyway, that's me. Success story of one client I've worked with for a long time, in sense of really shaped their dream job they always wanted. And in that dream job, there's a lot of independence. She's able to work from home, best income she's ever made, and creating that new sense of worth by having that capacity and moving into our own, emotional wellness. Now, obviously looking at a partnership or a relationship of some kind, but obviously waiting till that comes about in its own natural way. When I talk about transformation, I've obviously done this in my own life, moving across country. Now we're living in Mexico and have the emotional flexibility. And at the same time, we're being tested. We just had to change Airbnb due to some hiccups at the one we're at. We're able to source another one out fairly quickly. So having that place where we can not settle into something, think you're safe and secure, and we're able to move in the moment if we need to. So, and as Juanito, you're traveling, you're seeing that as well. What goes wrong, when it goes wrong, how do you take care of it in the moment? So I'm going to step into my presentation, and what I would like is some feedback. So I may stop and meander through some of the slides a bit, but I will, always looking to, okay. Let me open up my, there we are. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what we talk about style, and this is from the NLP training I've been taking as well. It's again to expand and be informative, but it's also at the same time very confusing. We take for granted, like I said, because we speak the same language, but the way we add words in, the meaning we put behind these words can mean different things. So we have two styles. This is from the NLP background. We have a literal speaker. Welcome. We have a literal speaker and a literal listener, inferential speaker and inferential listener. Now, we are a combination of these. They're not absolutes on these forms. We can be, I'm an inferential speaker and a literal listener. Literal means direct. We like very short conversation, very to the precise words. And inferential means we sort of add a lot into it. We add a lot of other details. Now that gets, again, literal is to a point. They use few words to deliver information and reply very quick replies to long-winded questions. A literal listener needs clear and direct information. They do not understand hints or clues. They get lost in others' dialogues. So that's what it would say. But sometimes people go into a long-winded explanation a literal listener will look at them like, what are you trying to tell me? And sometimes it gets confusing in families because we don't realize this is what's happening in our own parents, siblings, relationships. When someone is very explanatory, guilty of this myself, we add in a lot of extra words. Inferential speakers, I said, like add in details because they add in their thoughts at the time. They may be talking to you about something, then they'll add in something about what they need to do in the next moment, or a piece of the grocery list. So it's a work in progress. But again, when you have relationships with them, you understand more because you've got that little bit of connection. With someone new, you know, it's going to be a bit different each time. We also inferential assumptions when they're listening to someone. I thought you meant this, or I thought you meant that. So it's, and again, when they're speaking to a direct speaker and they ask a long-winded question, like somebody said they were dealing with a lawyer and they would ask this many word question, they get back one word answer, yes. So yes to what? You know, so we have to understand where each person's coming from, and we modify this as we grow up. Again, literal speakers, they're very direct. They can be perceived as rude or talking down to someone because, again, even the voice tone, how that comes out. When somebody asks a long question and just say yes, the other person may feel like they're being dismissed. But they provided their information that you requested. An inferential speaker believes they're being clear and wonders why they get strange looks when we're asking a many-word question. Again, my own experience. I didn't realize that I was being so off topic when I'm asking questions sometimes, and you're in these and you ask a long-winded question and people give and you start to judge yourself. What's wrong? Like, why I'm asking a question? Why am I getting a strange look? Well, of course I asked a strange question. And my wife Angela is very good. She's a direct listener. So it's someone to catch me when I'm speaking. She'll just say, stop, A to B, you know, which it's good to have that feedback, right? Because you don't realize times you're off topic when you're listening to someone or speaking to someone. Again, the areas of life where this impacts is obviously, and more than this: family, education, careers, finances, even someone receiving directions. If you're driving somewhere, directions to something, and after that, it's up to your interpretation, you know, of what those directions mean, you know, going down a road, what you're looking for, what they refer to somebody. Example, one person said they got a direction and you turn at my uncle's place and you go left there. The wife, and he goes, why would he say my uncle's place? She goes, maybe that's the name of it. You know, we attach a meaning to think words like that. Again, this is where conflicts happen because we don't know the other styles, and we grow up again within our families like this with parents and siblings, that this style of miscue is going on constantly, and we don't get it. Examples of what this means: when a friend is at your kitchen table and says, I'm thirsty, you would get up and get them a glass of water, or do nothing and continue the conversation. A literal listener would do nothing. You're saying they just made a statement. An inferential listener would say, oh, they want water. You'll get up and get them a glass of water. So it's understanding what your style is. When somebody says something, you may know after a while, this person's, they may not that they need something, but initially you're not going to understand this. So I get, what is style? You feel compelled, you're an inferential. Do nothing and continue the conversation means you're literal. This is a true example. You're walking towards your car with your spouse, they hand you the car keys. You ask, what are these for? So you assume you're driving, climb into the seat. Again, we ask what these for. If you ask what these for, you're an inferential listener. Or you're a direct, sorry, you're a literal listener because they didn't tell you anything, they just handed you the car keys. If you're an inferential listener, you would assume you get the clue that you're driving. And a couple I know, well, actually my NLP instructors, this is where they miss each other all the time. One will hand the other keys and the other person will look at them, and they've been married for many years. So what do you want me to do with these? Like put two and two together. But this is what we do in our families as well. Literal speakers, which are very direct, and then children have this style growing up. And we're taught from any children that is rude to be so direct. You shouldn't ask questions like that. And we're sort of groomed as children to try and be more, put more words in that, maybe not ask directly, because it's a communication style or it's a strategy we're taught growing up. Maybe you had families you grew up with, it wasn't safe to ask. It wasn't, you couldn't ask money, so you didn't ask for things. You learned to just drop clues and how you want things. But this also goes into our later relationships and our friends and our family and our partners. We never ask directly for what we need. We drop hints and clues and say all kinds of things. We're going to understand the differences of each other in that relationship and how this leads to not only miscommunication, a lot of contrasting or conflicting conversations, because the other person says, I told you, and you look like, no, you didn't tell me. It's like you always do. So, or you should understand what I know, what I need by now. And we don't, especially when it comes to, from our partners. As I said, add a lot of intro because we're speaking to ourselves at the same time. We're not necessarily realize we're trying to communicate to someone else. Again, talking about directions, we add in a lot of miscellaneous information, and it takes time and coaching to really bring this into a stronger focus. When we, again, in families, this comes across in many types of contrasting experiences in our family, with our siblings, with our parents, probably with our cousins, and it also comes into our workplace. Inferential speakers and listeners have a language basically their own. They understand hints and clues, parts of jokes. They start in the middle of a sentence and the other person gets it. Direct listener will not understand what they're talking about. So a direct listener, and many times, even as children, appear boring or uninvolved, but they don't get it. They don't understand why they can't pick up these clues. But what I meant to comment about, you look at Spock and Data from Star Trek, they were very much a literal person, like an android or an artificial person would be, or someone who's a brainiac like Spock, apparently. They just take things as face value, not understanding the nuances behind them. And I mean, many times there was movies of someone have explained it to them from their, from another perspective. Growing up in this with these styles, again, some of us feel left out, feel like there's miscommunication, especially as young people now. And I think even with the texting and type of media out there, the communication has been so strained and up to the interpretation of the person who's giving the communication. So another example of this is you're sitting in a living room table. There's a dinner plate and a coffee table. You point to it as your son or daughter walking by. Now, they would know to take it to the kitchen, ignore you and keep on walking, or have a strange look on their face. So again, what are they? An inferential child will understand that they want you to take the plate to the kitchen. They're to take the plate to the kitchen. A literal one looking at you would not understand what you mean. So, and this is where the conflict starts, because we think our kids are being smart aleck, or they're not understanding. We get grumpy because you by now what I want. But until we build this rapport in these situations, and it can be our spouse as well. We don't understand, they don't consciously see this the way we do it or perceive it. As a job aspect of this, with whatever style you are, if you felt someone was not performing as well, you should come to the point and tell them direct, what it means you're literally direct, or would you imply clues or give them hints of their job? And again, how are they going to receive it as well? We've had, I'll just go into a couple of memes. So, can you guys see these memes? Yeah. The book one is good, one of my favorite.
I like the Android one.
Yeah, the Android, I love that. Out of this world.
Yeah. But even this one, like the teacher talks about summarizing the book, and she's putting plants and pictures on it. When you look back at our styles and where it impacted us, I mean, for me, it impacted me through school. Having teachers, and one in particular was very much an inferential, would give me clues. It was in English, and I never got them. I never understood what the heck he was talking about. And you sort of look at yourself like, what's wrong with me? But I realized we had two different types we had two styles. So it doesn't make it okay in a sense, because there could be a lot of other emotions attached to it. And this is where my work comes in as well. But if we look and realize where the miss is, clarity, again, on going forward, how this could be different. Again, a literal listener may not know when they're being complimented. And we talk about how compliments kind of go south sometimes. We try to be smart alecky. We're trying to impress somebody and feeling or saying something glib, and it just doesn't land, but perhaps understanding their listening style as well. So this is kind of the end of it, but I believe that when we have understanding of, and we're variations of this for giving and receiving, and awareness of the people around us close to us, that we may have great communication with them, but how we can improve that. And where I'm going to add into this on another session is the love language and receive each other attention, not just in our not just in our close relationships, but overall. With love languages, how many times you've heard somebody, even a child, say you've never, we tend to go in acts of service or gifts in family sometimes when we're busy. And that may not be what the child is looking for. They may need attention. They may need words of affirmation, or, they may need just time. And we've gone to a society, we're so busy. We tend to go with the gifts and the acts of service more than just try and make up for it. So I think this is kind of a misplaced in our own personal lives and where we are in general. So I'll stop sharing. Happy to receive any feedback at all, good or bad. If you guys want to say it out loud or put it in, or send me an email to where I could improve the.
I'll give you some initial thoughts on it, Richard. I think jumping into the whole information series about direct and inferential, it would be great to, like, anytime you're doing a presentation, it's great to start with why, and then what you're going to get out of it, and then summarize it at the bottom, at the end. So kind of a little bit more of an introduction, I think, before you got into the meat of it would have been helpful to let people know, I'm going to dive into this. I'm going to show you the different ways people communicate. This is going to be your outcome. And then at the end, you would summarize, you know, can you just even asking a question, can you see how this would affect relationships in your life, in business, things like that. So just, it's easy. It's easier when you guide someone through. This is what I'm going to do. This is what it is. This is what it was. So that would be one observation I had.
Thank you.
Kind of like the teacher outline. Mhm.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of the old adage, there's a reason God gave people two ears, but only one mouth, right?
Helen, that was I thought that was a nice suggestion. Also, for somebody like myself who picks out typos really easily, I should have been an editor in my in another life. You might want to go back over and edit it. Get somebody else to look at it, because it's hard to edit your own stuff, because there were missing words and typos and stuff.
Okay.
You also, there was a lot of text, and sometimes I was trying to read and listen to you and follow it, and sometimes you weren't going exactly with what was there, and so I was struggling a little bit to keep track of both. And then not in terms of the presentation, but in terms of the content, I was curious because I've heard, I've been to some sessions where people talk about learning styles and stuff, and I've never heard the one that you're talking about, but it makes a lot of sense. I've heard others that are also very interesting in terms of how people see and interpret things. But the in some of your examples of like I think the inferential one, giving directions and then tossing in stuff about a dog and a cat, that almost seemed to be more like somebody who like had ADHD and was jumping around and couldn't maintain their focus. And then on the other end, you were talking about people who were literal, who were not picking up clues. And it seemed almost like you were describing somebody with Asperger's syndrome, where they just didn't catch social clues. So it's an interesting spectrum how that, what you were talking about fit in some of your examples, almost seem to be going to different syndromes or issues in how people interpret the world or interact with the world.
I actually think that's an interesting observation, Jock, and I had similar thoughts going through the presentation, Richard, but I think a really neat way to kind of tie that in is to say, you know, just a specific example. You may have heard of people on the autism spectrum who don't take social clues. Here's a way that we who aren't on the spectrum have that same struggle. And so you're kind of identifying it already so that people kind of don't go down that road. But then to say, you know what, you and I can do this too. I expect that you're going to pick up a dish when I look at it, and you don't because I didn't ask you to do it. So just to kind of tie that in, I did have that thought process when you were going through the presentation too. So
just as a response, you're absolutely correct, Jock. A lot of this is used in education and speech therapy as well for people who, just like you said. So I mean, having clarity of that, because it goes into these spectrums, so people just do not perceive this at all. So I can, if I do that, like I said, in my pre-explanation of here's the simplicity of it, but also branches into these other areas of education, and especially what we call special, I don't know if I want to say special needs or special education platforms for, well, yeah.
Now, being a simple guy, what the heck is a meme?
A
oh, Barry, I love your candidness.
No, I really,
It's okay.
the
It's
point
awesome.
I'm
I'm glad you
making
asked.
is, don't
Yeah.
put words in that guys like me don't understand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, for everybody, the background is I'm highly dyslexic. I don't read. The written word doesn't make any sense behind my eyeballs. But I'm here to pay attention to you. And that distracted me
Okay.
because I started thinking about that, and I actually missed the first two pictures
Cartoon.
that you had in there until you went back to it, because I was trying to figure that out. I almost went to my phone and Webster's and all that.
Look it up. It's a little bit hard to describe. You'll do better by getting an explanation, or maybe somebody else can
Well,
do it better than
what's
me.
a
But I know
simple word that, couldn't it just, so what I got out of it, couldn't you just say examples?
Yeah. Yeah, because actually, I'm not even really sure those would qualify as a meme. It's not really how the word meme is used that I know of. It's something that came up a few years ago, and the first time I heard it, I was like, what the hell are people talking about? So I understand. It confused me at first too, until people went over it with me.
Yeah, because you want, we all, it's actually not you, it's actually we all want to be over here with you. You want all of us to be over here with you, not over there, because over there has distance. Over here is together. So the more that you keep people together in our communications, whether they be personal or whether they be business, are what we're really giving the strength of that relationship to be. It's that partnership like that.
Thank you.
A meme, if I think I might be able, now that I'm thinking about it, to explain it quickly, that it's like when there's something common that happens, and it typically goes viral, where people will take a certain picture or something and they'll just do a little modification of it to make fun of it or to emphasize it, and you'll have all sorts of people making little twists on something stupid that's happened that some politician made a mistake saying, or whatever it might be. And I think that is what most people would consider a meme, but I definitely look it up and read more about it, even though you're saying you're dyslexic, so maybe that's hard.
I could probably clarify it a little more, because I actually heard a comedian refer to memes a few weeks ago, and he said a meme is basically the latest kind of technological way of doing like a zinger or a one-liner. So it's a comedic premise, but it comes out in technology. And so, like you said, Jock, it might be a standard image of something that we know, like it could be a political leader, it could be a penguin on an iceberg, it could be whatever, but then there's some little comment that goes with that pokes fun at something in society or something in that picture. So it's basically the greatest way for comedians to get their word out lately.
Yeah, so going back to the dictionary, an amusing or interesting item such as a caption, picture, or video, or genre of items that is spread widely online, especially through social media.
Yeah.
An idea, behavior, or usage that spreads a person. So that's what Webster says.
So I think the whole point with that would be, Richard, a note for you is to make sure you use language that everyone understands. And I mean, we can all make that mistake, right? We use a short form, we use an acronym for something that we think everyone knows and they don't know what it is. And so just a point.
Okay.
And a good one, Barry.
Yeah, and I think actually that that those would more accurately be called examples than memes.
Great feedback. I'm great for all of it, because as I work through this, but question is, did it make sense that you could see some of this?
You cut out. I couldn't hear you.
You cut out a little.
Okay, so one, I said, thank you for the feedback and all welcome. Was there enough information that you could see examples of this in your own life?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely got an understanding of what you were trying to convey. I think you may have even been able to do it in a shorter presentation, maybe by using some pictures with the words or things like that, because there was a lot of verbiage to read, as Jock had pointed out. But I think for sure we all got the idea that you can say something and somebody else can hear it a different way. Definitely.
Yeah, it did seem like towards the end, it started getting a little bit repetitive, that you could tighten it up a bit.
Cool, thank you.
And Richard, I'm not sure if you want to add, or if somehow you can relate to, because this is what happens with me a lot. People who are bilingual, the adjustment of listening and talking, and then you're trying to interpret, and you think you heard something, but then you're thinking in a different language. And sometimes that communication, you can assume somebody said something in one language and you say, oh, I think they said something else. So I don't know, but that's whereas somebody who's a bilingual person has a difficulty in communicating. They're thinking in one language and it's actually assuming the other. Well, when you're bilingual, you kind of figure it out.
I think that's a good point, Richard, that you could use kind of in the intro before you get into the meat of it, just like what Jock was mentioning, perhaps about autism. You know, you could say, like, here are some real factors where people have trouble communicating, and use those examples. If you're bilingual and you're listening in French, but you're trying to speak in English or whatever, right? How things can get lost. Because exactly that same thing happens in autism, or with people with autism, for example, is innuendos and things like that are simply lost. And that's why they're said to not have like social etiquette, because they just don't understand a lot of other little innuendos and things that we understand. So I think talking about that, and then maybe you could tie that, sorry, my dogs are barking. Maybe you could tie that idea of, you know, we see these kind of dramatic examples, but there are little innuendos that we all miss every day. And then you could start going into the presentation. I think that might be a good way to kind of make a bigger picture and then simplify it.
So and again, I appreciate what you said. I looked at some of this as well, because exactly what you said, where the one example there, a lady's son, I think he was autistic, and how he took things literally. So and where it causes so much stress, we don't realize what we say causes so much stress to him. And the mother said, well, looks like your bus is not going to be here on time. And he responds, was, it's not my bus, it belongs to the city. And then something else about the timing and everything, all three son, a lot of distress. And these were clear examples of how these things get taken into these frameworks or out of context in our relation, you know, in our children or people who have what we call these disabilities.
Yeah.
It's breaking that down into a simple explanation of and then bring it down into those of us in this, what we call so-called normal spectrum.
Well, the example that I mentioned where you talked about giving directions and then talking about cat and dog food or whatever it was, to me, that struck me as somebody with ADHD and not with somebody who was inferential.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them, you know, going into too much detail about directions or something like that. But if they're jumping totally off topic, I'm not sure that would be inferential as much as ADHD. So that particular example bothered me.
Okay. All right. So thank you for that. Obviously, we had Gary and Sophia come in late. Sorry, you guys, welcome. A few each of you want to give your infomercial. Sophia, if you want to do yours, and we can run through ours quick. Like,
Hi, thank you. So infomercial, just like our little elevator pitch. Okay.
yes, and with an example and probably maybe a customer that client that you've worked with, maybe just
Okay.
outcome of your work.
Okay, I'll try to do. Normally I don't add in the client thing. Okay, so hi, I'm Sophia with an E with Wisdom Speaks Live. Go to Executive Wisdom Mentor. I teach and train high performers, professionals, and entrepreneurs in the art of self-mastery. Self-mastery is self-leadership, which makes you an effective leader that intentionally influences your thinking, feelings, and actions, expanding your personal power so that you can step into being the CEO of your life, live life on your terms, and drive your destiny. I'm like, it totally just went out my mind. I'm like, okay, we were going to talk about Sadie, but now I lost.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My morning has been pretty hectic and I'm pretty jumbled right now, so I'll just pass for right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for the offer.
Richard, I had one suggestion in terms of that example with the directions. You had mentioned something about my uncle's house or something, which actually it turned out to be a restaurant or a store or something. So you might say something like, instead of, giving directions and getting off onto cats and dogs, just saying that they give directions and then start talking about, something that's in the directions of, oh, that's such a great restaurant or whatever, and getting off track and in that way.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I'll just go through mine real quick. Coach working with people through divorce, and obviously I'm going to work with them, helping them their communication style, but also understanding their past choices and how to create new choices with new information that give them greater ability to create something new and different in their life. And that's kind of where I focus on giving people a chance to understand where they are and how to create something different and more uplifting for themselves. Whoever else wants to give themselves a quick revamp of what they just did or said. Claudia, do you want to do a quick info?
Sure. I mean, most of you already know what I'm involved with, just basically creating new streams of passive income. The platforms are all involved in trading, either in the Forex market or the crypto or both. And currently with the 3 platforms that are doing extremely well. 2 of them are about to get a lot better due to some upgrades in their platforms, and really excited about that, and just making money. That's what I do, and I'm enjoying it.
Cool. Barry.
Sure. And I think everybody knows what I do. If not, you can certainly read it over my head. Melaleuca is the original green and essential oils company. We manufacture our products ourselves and literally are around the world, but talking about North America, we're the #1 online wellness shopping club. So I do virtual tours. I don't sell anything. I'd love to do that for you so that you can better take care of yourself, your family, and the environment. My information is in chat. I am the Melaman.
Cool. Chuck.
Basically, I said it before, I do online marketing, and my goal is to get you more business coming in and ease your mind about where your next client's coming from. If I can also jump in, I was mentioning that I'd done some other things about how people communicate. My wife and I did a 2-day seminar all day with a guy named Manny Elkind, and the Elkind Institute or whatever is still around. You might look him up and find it very interesting. But the one thing I particularly remembered from that weekend, because it applied to me, was he was talking about that some people see things as the glass half full and some see it as the glass half empty, that it's not good or bad. It's a way of seeing that some people will describe everything there and others will describe what's not there. And so he said that his wife, they were going out looking for a car and she was driving it and he could tell that she really liked the car. And he said, "What do you think of the car?" And she goes, "I don't like the color." And he said that before he did all this study about how the mind works, he would have been really upset saying, "Why are you putting down this car when I know you like it?" What she was actually doing was telling him the one thing that needed to change and everything else was good. She was being very direct, and that she was saying, "Okay, let's get it in this other color and I'm good." And so I would do things like that when I had people working for me. They would come to me with an idea and I'd say, "Okay, I see this, and this is a problem." And then I would, a week later, I would say, "How's it coming?" And they said, "Well, you didn't like it, so we didn't do anything." And so for people like me, you have to learn to say, "Hey, that's a great idea, but let's tweak this, and this." And I just jump over the compliment or that first part, and I'd get right into the things that needed tweaking. And so, whereas other people would go in and talk about all the good parts. So it just be aware of that as well in terms of people of how they approach things. So sorry, I just had to get that in because I love that so much because it applied to me.
No, it's awesome, Jock, because I mean, I'm trying to keep what I said simple, but there's so many areas that expands out to into all the other nuances of contrast and what to see and what people don't see. And I could add another 20 questions into that too, called it's all great examples, and I'll bring more of that into these conversations because it is important how it impacts our lives in many ways. And the more we learn, the more it's going to spread out to people we know and who we touch. So, Juanita, do you want to add in some of your?
Just wonderful to be here with you all again. As an entrepreneur, I started this out and got so many ideas from you guys all the time. So I love the collaboration and everything. So Your Way Tours is out there, out and about. Hashtag Global Tours and Trips. And we are here to make your life wonderful, have a cultural or culinary experience. So if you need some help with anything, give us a call. I'm here and I'm looking forward into getting into that FX world.
I think we got everything. So what I want to say is obviously we'll finish the meeting here, but I want to say thank you for supporting me today to be able to host this. Thank you to Nancy for a great platform she's created, and obviously an incredible group of people and entrepreneurs and heart-centered entrepreneurs that are here for all of us to teach and learn and support each. I'm grateful for this, grateful for your support and the opportunity, and to Nancy, we'll see this later. Thank you for this platform and what you do for us, and we'll see you guys all next week. Thank you all.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you
Have
so
a great
much.
weekend, everyone.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, everybody. Good to
Thank
see
you.
y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.